First of all, what is what is a bearing and what is the function of a bearing? Okay, this is a bearing, solid bearing. Now, a bearing is a mission element which supports another moving mission element. Okay, like this. This is a moving mission element. This is a supporting mission element. So this supporting mission element is called a bearing, and this moving mission element is called a shaft or journal. So this, for supporting the shaft, we are using the bearing, and it permits a relative motion between the contact surfaces of the members while carrying the load. Okay, so once again I will repeat. This is a moving element that is called shaft or a journal. Okay, this is the front view. This is the side view. This shaft is rotating about its axis, and for supporting the loads, and for supporting the shaft and loads, we are using a shaft. And also bearing is useful for smooth running of the shaft. Now this is a moving element, that is a shaft, and this is a bearing. Okay, this bearing is a fixed element. Okay, these two are the disassemble parts. This is the assembled part. Okay, what are the applications of bearings? So here, bearings are widely used in automobiles and aircraft engines for supporting crankshafts, flywheels, and steering mechanisms. Okay. As well as bearings are also used in centrifugal pumps, reciprocating pumps, air compressors, and motors for supporting driving shafts and flywheels. Okay. As well as bearings are also used in generators. Okay, for transmitting the power, and also for supporting the transmission shafts. Okay, and bearings are widely used in mechanical workshops. For example, bearings are used in lathe machines, milling machines, punching machines, shearing, drilling, and rolling machines. Okay, these all are comes under mechanical machine components. So bearings are widely used in mechanical machines. Okay, and also bearings are used for all purpose rotating fans, windmills, and compressors like this. And bearings are also used in sliding doors, hand tools, lifting tackle in workshops, and operated machines, agriculture machines, cranes in erecting shops, domestic machines. Okay, these all are some examples. So here, these are the examples for application of bearings. So here, bearings are widely used in mechanical machines like this, and also used for shipping cranes. Okay, these all are these cranes are used in shipyards. So for lifting heavy loads, we are using bearings for smooth running of machine. And also bearings are also used in agriculture machines, that is harvesting machines. This is a harvesting machine. And also bearings are used in JCBs, that is cranes. And yeah, this is the example for for real application in mechanical workshops. Now, bearings also used in automobile parts like cars, tractors, trucks, JCBs, bikes, harvesting machines, and petroleum lifting pumps. Okay, these are the another examples for application of bearings. And this is the figure for power transmission shaft. Here, three ball bearings are used for transmitting the power from one place to another place by using shaft. Okay. For smooth running of this power transmission shaft, we are using a ball bearings here. Okay, this is the best example for automobile transmission shafts. And also bearings are also used for all-purpose fans, okay, printing machines, printing machineries, and 3D printers, bikes, automobile parts, and cranes. And this is a pulley and chain drive mechanisms. And also bearing is also useful for spinner. This is a toy used for spinning. Okay, here this is a bearing. Here a ball bearing is used for spinners. Now here bearings also used for cranes. This is the application of crane. Here in this particular place, here ball bearings are used for running the chain. Okay, here where rings are also used for lifting the this front part. Okay, and these are the automobile power transmission system. In this power transmission system, we are using bearings for supporting the shafts. This is the figure for bearing. This is analysis figure. These are the some domestic purpose. Here we are also bearings are also used for refrigeration and fridges. Okay, it is a hand tool and water pumps. Okay, water motors. Now coming to the another topic, that is materials used for bearings. Okay, the materials commonly used for bearings are bubbit metal. First one is bubbit metal, and second one is bronzes. Third one is cast iron. Fourth one is silver, and fifth one is non-metallic bearings. Okay, again, not non-metallic bearings broadly classified into nylon, Teflon material, wood, non-metallic like plastic bearings, wood bearings. Okay, and carbon graphite bearings comes under non-metallic bearings. Okay, so these are the materials commonly used for bearings. So first one is bubbit metal, second one bronzes, cast iron, silver, non-metallic bearings. Okay, I will explain briefly. Bubbit metal. Okay, here the tin-based and lead-based bubbits are widely used as a bearing material. Okay, here we are using commonly used bubbit metals are tin-based bubbit metals and lead-based bubbit metals. Okay, so the tin-based and lead-based bubbits are widely used for bearing material. Okay, because they satisfy most requirements for general applications. Okay, that's why we are using bubbit materials. Now, the composition of the bubbit metals is, first one is tin base bubbits and lead base bubbits. In tin base bubbits, it contains 90% tin. Okay, so in tin base bubbits, we are using 90% tin and 4.5% copper and 5% antimony and 0.5% lead. Okay, so these are the composition for tin based bubbits. Okay, in tin based bubbits contains 90% tin. Okay, 90% of tin and 4.5% of copper and 5% of antimony and 0.5% of lead. Okay, so similarly in lead based bubbits, we are using 84% of lead. Okay, 84% of lead and 6 percentage of tin, 9.5 percentage of antimony and 0.5 percentage of copper. Okay, so in lead based bubbits, so its composition is 84% lead, 6% tin, 9.5% antimony, 0.5% copper. Okay, so yeah, in tin based bubbits, the majority of composition is tin. Okay, so in tin based bubbits, we are using 90% tin. So it is called tin base bubbits. In lead based bubbits, we are using 84% lead. So these bubbits are called lead based bubbits. Okay, now I am erasing all. Okay, now now the bubbits are recommended where the maximum bearing pressure is not over 7 megapascal to 14 megapascal. Okay, here the maximum bearing pressure means here pressure P equal to load on bearing load on bearing divided by projected area. Okay, so bearing pressure equal to load by area. So this load is acting on shaft or bearing. Okay, now this is area is the cross sectional area of a bearing. Okay, that is a diameter of a bearing into where area equal to diameter of a bearing, that is a capital D, diameter of a bearing, that is the inner diameter of a bearing, and width or length of a bearing. Okay, so diameter of a bearing into width of a bearing is called area, and this load acting on shaft or bearing. So load in newtons and area in mm square. That's why your bearing pressure in newton per mm square, that is also in megapascal or in pascals. Now When applied in automobiles, the bubbit is generally used as a thin layer, 0.05 mm to 0.15 mm thick, bonded to an insert or a steel shell. Okay, these are bubbit materials. Now coming to another metal, that is bronzes. Okay, now bronzes are generally used in the form of machined bushes. Okay, machined bushes pressed into the shell. Okay, the bush may be in one or two pieces. Okay, here, so the bronzes are alloys of copper, tin, and zinc. Okay, so bronzes comes from alloys of copper, tin, and zinc. Now, these are generally used in the form of shells. Okay. Now, bronze is commonly used for bearing materials. Okay. So, bronze is commonly used for bearing material or gun metal. First one is gun metal, and second one is phosphor bronze. So, these two metals are used for bronzes. Now, in gunmetals, it contains composition 88% copper and 10% tin and 2% zinc. Okay, this is the composition of gunmetal. It is used for high grade bearings. Okay, these gunmetal bearings are used for for sub for supporting high pressures. Okay, these are gunmetal bearings are used when the projected uh, when the applied pressure is more than 10 megapascal, and the phosphor bronze contains 80% of copper and 10% of tin and 9% of lead and 1% of phosphor. So phosphor bronze contains 80% copper, 10% tin, and 9% lead, and 1% phosphorus. Okay, so these phosphor bronze bearings are used for subjected to very high pressures, not more than 14 megapascal. 14 megapascal. Okay, 1 Newton per mm square equal to 1 megapascal. Okay, so these are the bronzes. Now coming to the another model, the another material, that is a cast iron. So already all of you know that about cast iron. Cast iron is a brittle material. So so it has a high hardness. So it can it can uh, it can maintain high loads. It can carry high compressive loads. Okay, it can resist high compressive loads. So the cast iron bearings are usually used with steel journals. Such type of bearings are fairly successful where lubrication is adequate and the pressure is limited to 3.5 megapascal and the speed to 40 meters per minute. Okay. Ca- the main drawback of this cast iron is it may fail due to tension because of cast iron comes under ductile. comes under brittle metals. That's why cast iron bearings may fail due to tensile loads. Cast iron bearings are very useful for compressive loads. Now, silver bearings. Silver and silver lead bearings are mostly used in aircraft engines, where the fatigue strength is the most important consideration. Okay, but the main disadvantage of this silver is very expensive. That's why we are not using in regular applications. It is used in aircrafts for high fatigue strength. Okay, now coming to the another type, that is a non-metallic bearings. The various non-metallic bearings are carbon graphite, carbon graphite bearings, rubber bearings, wood bearings, and plastic bearings. Okay, carbon graphite bearings. Carbon graphite bearings are self lubricating bearings. Okay, there is no need of lubrication. Okay, that's why these carbon graphite bearings are used in food processing units. Okay, and these carbon graphite bearings are dimensionally stable over a wide range of operating conditions. Okay, and chemically inert. So so that's why we are using in food processing, and it can operate at high temperatures. Okay, so such type of bearings are used in food processing industries. And for wood bearings, the wood bearings are used in many applications where low cost cleanliness in attention to lubrication and anti-seizing are important. Okay, మనకి ఎక్కడైతే తక్కువ కాస్ట్లో మనకి అయిపోవాలి, ఒక తక్కువ ఖర్చుతో మనకి అయిపోవాలనుకున్న చోట వుడెన్ బేరింగ్స్ అనేవి వాడతాం. ప్లస్ ఎక్కడైతే మనకి ఎక్కువ లోడ్స్ అనేవి యాక్ట్ అవ్వకుండా మినిమం లోడ్స్ యాక్ట్ అయ్యే చోట అయితే ఇట్ ఈస్ సూటబుల్. ఓకే, అండ్ plastic bearings. Commonly used plastic material for bearings is nylon and Teflon. Okay, so the materials have many characteristics desirable in bearing material, and both can be used dry, that is as a zero film bearing. Okay, these plastic bearings used as a zero film bearings. There is no need of lubrication. Okay, now nylon and Teflon bearings. Nylon is stronger, harder, and more resistant to abrasive wear. Okay, so nylon and Teflon bearings are having high corrosive resistance, as well as abrasive wear resistance. Okay, and it is used for applications in which these properties are important. Example, elevator elevator bearings, cams in telephone dials. Okay, like that. And Teflon is rapidly replacing nylon as a wear surface or linear for journal and other sliding bearings. Okay, these are the important bearing materials. Now coming to the properties of bearing materials. For selecting good bearing material, the following properties contain should satisfy high compressive strength, So bearing metals should have high compressive strength, and it should have high fatigue strength, and good conformability property. It should have embeddability. Okay, bearing metals should have good bondability. Okay, and bearing materials should have high corrosion resistance and wear resistance. Okay, it should have high corrosion resistance. Okay, and also the bearing materials should have high thermal conductivity. Okay, high thermal conductivity and low thermal expansion. Okay, low thermal expansion, high thermal conductivity. So these are the important bearing material properties. Okay, in next class I will explain about these eight properties clearly. Okay.